across Europe this weekend, and we're going to mainly focus on the FA Cup, but we will also go into detail on the other leagues around the world and catch up with all of the results that have happened, because of course there is no Premier League this weekend. It was kind of refreshing, to be honest, but I am excited for the Prem to be back. But we had FA Cup action, so I'll talk through those games, go into detail about those, and then we'll talk about some other leagues as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on any of the games we discuss, and let's just go straight into it. So we had our quarterfinals of the FA Cup this weekend, and we had Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 3. Goals from Eberici, Eze, Ismail Assar, Eddie Nketiah. A real shock, I would say, in this one. Crystal Palace away from home beating Fulham 3-0. I'm not sure anyone really expected that, but it was fantastic. I mean, Fulham were very, very unfortunate. They did not deserve to lose that badly to Palace, but Palace probably were the better, more effective side in this game, and they go through to the FA Cup semi-finals. Eberici Eze was really the star in this game, a goal and an assist, and his goal, if you haven't seen it, was absolutely unbelievable. It was so good. Really nice goal, and a really great performance from Eze. Yeah, I don't think he's really had the best season this year. Last year was definitely much better, but I think he has grown into the year, as has Palace really as a whole. In the second half of the season they've been terrific, and Eze has been a big part of that. Obviously scored his first England goal on international duty, and you can see the confidence he's got in himself now, and when he's on this type of form, yeah, he is a real problem. Ismail Assar as well, another goal for him. He's been in some terrific form, and it's another away victory for Palace, 3-0 against Fulham, who are a very, very good team, is mightily impressive. As I said, it's another away win. I think that's like 6 away wins or something in a row now for Palace. They have been absolutely sensational on the road, and they're in the semi-finals now. You know, they're probably not going to get into Europe or anything, so they have a real chance here of potentially winning the FA Cup, which would just be an unreal season for Palace. Yeah, and they're only 2 games away now from winning the FA Cup, so I think they've got a great chance. They're in some sensational form, and to be honest, out of the teams remaining, they actually might be the most informed team, so really do think Palace could be in for a special season here, and a fantastic victory here for them. But for Fulham, I mean, this is devastating really. Similar to Palace, I thought they had a real great chance of potentially winning this competition. They are still in the hunt for European football, so I guess all is not lost, but I did feel that the FA Cup was maybe their best chance of getting into Europe this season. And to lose at home so badly against a rival as well is, yeah, it's not great. As I said, they were probably a tad unfortunate to lose this badly. Like, they had a chance, I think Bassi had a chance where I don't know how on earth he didn't score. And like I said, Palace, as they scored a great opener, the game was pretty even before that, but yeah, Fulham, it's quite disappointing, but hopefully for their sake they can bounce back in the league, because they could still get into Europe. But very well done to Crystal Palace. Next up, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Nottingham Forest winning 4-3 on progress into the FA Cup semi-finals after I'm not gonna lie, a pretty boring game against Brighton. It was not the most entertaining game I've ever watched. At least normal time was pretty boring, I would say. Weirdly, extra time was actually pretty entertaining. Like, Brighton were very good in extra time and almost won it in extra time, but Matt Sells produced some really good saves to keep Forest in it. And it went to a penalty shootout where Forest prevailed. Matt Sells saved 2 penalties versus Hinchwood and Diego Gomez. Nico Williams skied his penalty, but that didn't matter. And yeah, Nottingham Forest progress on penalties. Shout out also to Nikola Milenkovic, who amazing penalty. It was so composed, it was crazy for a centre-back to be doing that, but yeah. Ryan Yates, the boyhood Forest man, the club captain, with the winning penalty to send them to the semi-finals, and it's a big win for Forest because Nuno rotated quite a bit in this game. He rested a lot of the big boys like Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, did not play. Chris Wood was injured as well, so they were out. They didn't have him either. Yet they managed to get the job done. On penalties, I thought overall in 90 it was a pretty even match. I think Forest maybe slightly the better side, but yeah, both teams were pretty evenly matched in this one, but Forest come out on top on penalties, and they could be on for honestly one of their best ever seasons in sort of modern history, really, since their glory days. Obviously they are still in a top 4 battle and they're currently in 3rd. If they can get the Champions League football and win the FA Cup in the same year, that would just be absolutely unreal. And yeah, we're in the semi-finals now. It'll be interesting. Maybe if any Forest fans are watching, I'm not sure which one they would rather have, Champions League football or the FA Cup. But yeah, we're in the semi-finals now, and absolutely superb from Forest, who, as I said, are having a sensational season. Very well done to them. Brighton will be thoroughly disappointed they didn't progress in this one. It was a real opportunity for them, but as I said, I think both teams were pretty even in this match. Brighton weren't particularly amazing, struggled really to break down Forest, who sat back and tried to counter-attack Brighton. And Brighton really couldn't break them down in normal time. And on penalties, you know, it is what it is. Brighton will be disappointed, but sort of similar to Fulham, they're still in the race for Europe, so all is not lost. They can still have a very good season, but they'll be disappointed they're not going to the semi-finals. Next up we have Preston North End 0, Aston Villa 3, a brace from Marcus Rashford and a goal from Jacob Ramsey. So Aston Villa avoid an upset in this one with a comfortable victory over Championship side Preston North End, and yeah, it was completely deserved. The golfing class was pretty clear. I mean, the first half Villa were thoroughly unlucky not to go in front. Villa had plenty of chances, but it was sort of like Preston made last-ditch challenges, blocks, tackles. They were defending well, but you did sort of feel it was only going to be a matter of time before Villa got the opener, and they eventually did through Marcus Rashford, who, I mean, Rashford and Luca Dean were causing Preston problems down their right-hand side the entire game, and Rashford gets his first goals in a Aston Villa shirt. A nice moment for him. I think he's been pretty good for Aston Villa since he's joined, but finally to get those goals under his belt is a really nice moment. Took his Ramsey with a really nice goal himself. But yeah, Aston Villa in the second half completely controlled the game and cruised into the semi-finals. And I mean, like a lot of teams here I've mentioned, Aston Villa could be on for a sensational season. It's pretty impressive that they are still battling in 3 competitions this season. They're in the FA Cup semis, they're of course still in the Champions League in the quarter-final stage, and they're still in this race for Europe. They could potentially get top 4, so I'm not sure how they're going to juggle all of this, but the FA Cup still being it it's definitely their best chance of getting a trophy this season. And yeah, they'll be looking forward to that FA Cup semi-final. They've got a real chance of winning a trophy, especially with Unai Emery, who does pretty well in cup competitions. Preston, I mean, look, they came up against Premier League side Villa. I don't think anyone was expecting them to win. They gave a decent account of themselves. They held out until the 59th minute. But yeah, unfortunately they were unstuck by the Bella side, so it is what it is, but they did very well to get to this stage. And finally, Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2. Goals from Evan Nilsson, Erling Haaland and Omar Marmoush. So Manchester City were the final team to book their place in the FA Cup semi-finals after a comeback victory against Bournemouth, and this was, I will say, a fantastic game to watch as a neutral. Particularly the first half was thoroughly entertaining. I thought Bournemouth were absolutely superb in that first half. Definitely the Bella side. Man City, I mean, Erling Haaland had one of the worst first halves he could possibly have. He missed a pretty easy header, then misses a penalty, and then misses a one-on-one. And then Bournemouth not too long after score, and you're thinking, is this going to be another sort of Man City collapse? But fair play to Man City a bit, because second half they absolutely dominated Bournemouth. I mean, look at that. Bournemouth didn't have a single shot in that second half. They had 3 big chances. I think they hit the post twice in the second half. And the real star was the substitute, Nico O'Reilly, came on at left back and instantly got an assist for Haaland and was absolutely superb. A great tactical change by Pep, and what a brilliant second half it was from Man City, who get the job done. Omar Marmoush came off the bench, scored as well. Yeah, Man City into the FA Cup semi-finals, and they still have something to play for this season. Of course, it's been a really rough season for them, for their standards, but if they can end it with a trophy and top 4, I mean, that is still a very good season. So they're really going to be up for this. You could tell they were quite up for this. The way they celebrated after, I saw, players like De Bruyne, he was running as much as he could, giving 110% in this game, and all of their players were really up for this game, because I really do think they just, they want to win a trophy, to get their hands on some sort of silverware this season. So yeah, it was a huge win for them and a great second half performance. But Bournemouth really poor second half. I thought they were fantastic in the first half, but yeah, second half, I don't know what on earth happened. Their intensity just completely dropped off. They were pressing amazingly in the first half, and second half they didn't really press City at all. Couldn't really string any passes together. It was really bad, and a real disappointment. Again, like Brighton and Fulham, it was a great opportunity to get some silverware, but all is not lost, because they could still potentially get Europe, but they'll be disappointed if they've exited Palace versus Manchester City. Two pretty interesting ties. So Aston Villa, Crystal Palace should be really, really good. I think that's quite an even game. Really, really hard to predict who will be coming out on top. In fact, if I had to pick one, you know what, I might actually say Crystal Palace. Win that. Nottingham Forest City, another really difficult one. And that's pretty interesting because by the time this comes around, these two, of course, are battling for top four between each other. So these two may be well in the mix in top four and then have a semi-final to contend with. Man City, I remember earlier on in the season, absolutely smoked them. But when they met again, I think it was a draw. Actually, I think Forest beat them. I think the experience might come into play here and City might win that. So I think we might get a Man City Crystal Palace final, but either way it should be good. As a neutral, I really hope Forest do win because then we're guaranteed a winner who we haven't had in a long time. And I would personally love to see Crystal Palace win it, just because, you know, I know I'm a Chelsea fan, but it would be really cool to see them win a trophy. So yeah, it should be good though. It also Villa Forest final would be pretty tasty. Kind of rivals, aren't they? But anyways, let's have a look at some of the other results. So around Europe, I want to start in the EFL. I want to start in the Championship because there were some pretty important games for the promotion race. So Sheffield United played Coventry and Sheffield United won 3-1 against Coventry. This was a pretty big game for the promotion race because Coventry had been on a fantastic run of form. I think they'd won 10 out of 12 games going into this. And Sheffield United, of course, are fighting for the automatic promotion spots. But I was watching this game actually, and Sheffield United came out on top. To be honest, Coventry were kind of unlucky. They weren't actually that bad. I thought they were pretty decent, but Sheffield United just had moments of quality. Gustavo Hamas got an unreal free kick, and Sheffield United with a big victory over Coventry, and that does put them at the top of the table because Leeds, in dramatic fashion, dropped points versus Swansea City. They drew 2-2. It was a pretty crazy game because Leeds took the lead within the first minute, and then it was pretty comfortable until the 64th minute where a corner comes in and Ilham Melier, the Leeds goalkeeper, he has the ball in his hand for a simple catch pretty much, and then completely fumbles it under no pressure, and they score. And then in the 86th minute, Nondo scores. He thinks he's won it. He takes off his shirt, and you know the celebrations are pretty wild. They all think they've won it. It's a huge moment in the title race until the 96th minute, where Swansea level it up, and again Melier. I mean, it's not as big a howler, but he probably should have saved it. And yeah, Melier has completely cost Leeds points here, who drop points, and Sheffield United now go top of the Championship. Yeah, Ilham Melier, he's had a couple of these this season where he's had some absolute howlers, and it's another one here. Yeah, I'm really poor. It's pretty mad though because he also saved a penalty in this game. He also saved a penalty earlier in the game, so I mean, yeah, but he was at fault for 2 goals, so I guess he sort of overrid that. But yeah, Melier cost Leeds greatly, who keep on dropping points in this run-in. Luton picked up a big win away from home against Hull City, which is huge for them in terms of getting out of the relegation zone, and Hull are in and around there too, so it was a big 6-pointer and Luton win it. Watford drew with Bristol City 1-0 win. Bristol City, similar to Coventry, had been in some really good form recently, so it was viewed as a bit of a tough game for Burnley, but they came out on top and again closed that gap on the top. Norwich scored a late winner against West Brom, a 92nd minute Josh Sargent winner to keep their playoff hopes alive, and Sunderland also beat Millwall 1-0 to keep the pressure on at the top. So this is now the championship table. As I said, Sheffield United are now on top with 83 points, and Burnley are level on points with Leeds, 2 points behind Sheffield, so it isn't super tight between these three. Sunderland are in 4th, Coventry and West Brom are still in the playoff spots, but it's very tight. All of these guys really could potentially leapfrog them. Plymouth remain at the bottom. Luton moved just 2 points away from safety now, and Cardiff dropped to in 21st. But that was the championship. Let's move on to La Liga, where there was some pretty crazy developments in the title race. So there was actually Barcelona had to play their game in hand, and it was a pretty quick turnaround. They played on the Thursday and then they played on the Sunday, and many of their players had only just come back from international breaks, so they were missing a lot of key players. For example, Rafinha couldn't play, and a lot of the South American guys didn't play in this game. But Barcelona came out on top anyways. They won 3-0 against Osasuna. Ferran Torres, Olmo and Lewandowski with the goals. Lewandowski on the score sheet again. Ferran Torres coming up clutch yet again. When he has played, he's been superb. There was a worry though. Dani Olmo picked up an injury and he'll be out, I believe, for a couple weeks, which is not ideal for them. I also saw something where it's pretty interesting what will happen with this, but Osasuna have lodged an official complaint about the game because Inigo Martinez basically he withdrew from the Spain squad for injury reasons, but then played this game on the Thursday. And I think there's a rule within FIFA where if a player withdraws, they can't play a club game for at least 5 days. And of course, because this was played on a Thursday, Martinez played, I think it had only been 4 days. So I'm not sure what the outcome will be, but Osasuna I saw launch some complaints. But anyways, Barca won that, and that was their game in hand. And then Atletico Madrid dropped points against Espanyol on Saturday, 1-1 after winning 1-0, and that has pretty much, not ended their title hopes, but it has put a severe dent in their title hopes now. They really had to win this game, and if Atleti, because they're chasing the other two, if they were going to win this league, they had to win pretty much most of their games from now to the end of the season. So to drop points to Espanyol is not good at all, and it was not helped because the other results, Real Madrid pulled off a pretty crazy comeback, survived a very unlikely scare against Leganes at home. They went 1-0 up for an Mbappe Panenka pen, but then quickly at half time they were suddenly 2-1 down. They pulled it back to 2-2, and then the 76th minute Mbappe scored a free kick, his first ever free kick goal in his career, to give Real Madrid the win. Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting this to happen. Real Madrid just about scraping by Leganes, not convincing at all, but really all that matters is getting the win, and they got the win. Kylian Mbappe starring, coming up clutch for Madrid in this game. Yeah, shout out to Mbappe. we all sort of clowned him at the start of the season, called him a flop and all of that, but he is really, really coming into his own now at the perfect time, really, for Madrid. Come the crunch time of the season, Mbappe has really stepped up, and we're finally seeing the best of Mbappe right now. It's another 2 goals for Real Madrid. I think that takes him to like 30 goals or something, his tally. Yeah, he's having a really good season, and they're going to need him to keep on performing like he has been if they're going to keep up pace with Barcelona. But they get the win, not convincing at all, but they get the win, and that was really important because Barcelona, despite the quick turnaround, managed to beat Girona 4-1, and yeah, they almost slipped up. Girona leveled it up, made it 1-1 in the 53rd minute, but Barcelona absolutely dominated in this game. Gazzaniga pulled off a bunch of saves, but Lewandowski got a brace. Ferran Torres scored yet again, and Barcelona win another game. So Real Betis also won as well, another game, but this is what the title race now looks like. So they have all now played 29 games, and Barcelona sit 3 points ahead of Real Madrid. But you see, that draw just really, really has dented Atleti's hopes of winning this title now. They sit 9 points away from Barcelona with 9 games to go. So yeah, it's looking very unlikely Atletico are going to win this title, and it may just be a 2-horse race in La Liga now. Let's go to Serie A, where more developments happened in their title race too, and in the top 4 race. So if I go here, we'll start here. So Bologna picked up another victory, beating Venezia 1-0 in this game. Orsolini scored a banger, and this is really helpful for Bologna in their top 4 race. They're currently sitting in 4th, I think, or 3rd, so they kept up pace with a win here, and that meant Juventus, who are chasing Bologna for the top 4 spots, under new manager Igor Tudor, had to win, and they did win 1-0 against Genoa. Kenan Yildiz with a fantastic goal. So Juve, a few days ago, sacked Thiago Motta as manager, replaced him with Igor Tudor for the rest of the season, and he got off to a winning start. It wasn't like a sensational performance, they were the better side, but yeah, they got the job done and kept pace with Bologna. Roma as well, another 1-0 win for a top 4 contender. Again, they found a way to do it. Artem Dovbyk with a fantastic goal. Roma were definitely the better side in this one, but late goal and absolutely huge for Roma there. However, the title race saw a twist. Fiorentina beating Atalanta in this one. Moise Kean, who is fresh off the back of scoring 2 for Italy at the international break, got a goal, and Atalanta were really poor. Fiorentina dominated them, and Atalanta, it's another loss, very similar to Atleti. This weekend has pretty much put the nail in the coffin for their title hopes, because their title rivals Inter managed to win 2-1 against Udinese. It was pretty dramatic though. Jan Sommer made a real fantastic late save at the end of the game this one here, absolutely unbelievable from Jan Sommer in the 92nd minute to deny Udinese a goal. It was superb. Inter were cruising 2-0, but then Udinese got a goal back and they almost got a draw, and that would have been some twist, but crucially Inter held on, and Napoli then got a vital victory over Milan in a similar fashion. They were 2-0 up against Milan. Milan got a late goal, and you're thinking maybe there was going to be a late comeback, but Napoli held on, and a big victory for them. Another loss for is having an awful season right now, but with those results, that does mean Inter are still top of the league and they are 3 points ahead of Napoli in seconds, but Atalanta are 9 points away from Inter, so like I said, it's very similar to La Liga. Atalanta are not completely out, but they are on the verge of being out of this title race, and it is looking like it's now going to be a 2-horse race between an Inter and Napoli. But top 4 battle, with all of these teams winning, is just very, very tight. Lazio still have to play Torino, so there's pressure on them to win that game, but very, very tight between these guys. Now, let's go to the Bundesliga. So, Bundesliga, there was almost a shock. Bayern Munich just about got the job done versus St. Pauli, winning 3-2. They were level 1-1 until the 53rd minute, where Leroy Sané scored a brace in this game, and Bayern managed to hold on to the victory. That was a really good goal as well from St. Pauli in the 93rd minute, but it was nothing more than a consolation. Bayern had some really bad injuries in the international window. Alphonso Davies and Upamecano got injured, and they're pretty much both out for the season, so Eric Dyer and Guerrero came in for this game, and it'll be interesting how Bayern do without those 2 players who have been really good this year. So yeah, I mean, they got the job done, and that was important because Leverkusen the night before already got the job done too, winning 3-1 against Bochum. So Leverkusen keep on piling the pressure on Bayern Munich, and they remain 6 points away. That was a big result in the top 4 battle. Mönchengladbach beating Leipzig 1-0 in this game, and I believe that does put Gladbach, Gladbach are now above Leipzig in the table, so a really, really big result for Gladbach there. Frankfurt also picked up a big win against Demmen Stuttgart. Mario Götze with a goal to keep pace with the guys in the top 4. Mainz, though, dropped points versus Dortmund, who beat them 3-1 in this game, so it does keep Dortmund's hopes of making a late push for Champions League alive, and Mainz now do drop down to 4th, but the top 4 race is super, super tight here. Freiburg, a shock loss as well this week, losing to Union Berlin at home 2-1. Not good for them, dropping points, and Hoffenheim, Augsburg dropped points versus Hoffenheim 1-1 in that game, so a lot of teams dropping points in around this area, so it's very, very tight for top 4, and as I said, it's still 6 points separating the top 2. Alright, and finally, we'll have a look at Liga briefly, because Paris Saint-Germain kept up their unbeaten streak with a emphatic 6-1 away victory versus Saint-Etienne. Now, they had a scare, they were actually 1-0 down the 9th minute, but in the second half they scored 5 goals to comfortably cruise past Saint-Etienne and keep up their invincible status in Ligue 1. There was also some really, really big results for the top 4 race. Strasbourg beating Lyon 4-2. A really big result for them because these guys are battling for the top 4 together. So a really massive result there. And Marseille got absolutely smoked by Stade Liège. A bit of a surprise, losing 3-1 in this game. They had 80% possession. That is absolutely crazy, and still got battered. Monaco as well versus Nice, another big game. 2 teams battling for top 4, and Monaco managed to come out on top 2-1. Nice were winning 1-0, but in the end Monaco came out on top, and Lille managed to just about get the job done versus Lens, winning 1-0, which now means the table at Liga, the top 4 race is really close here. Monaco are now in second ahead of Marseille. Nice are in fourth. Strasbourg have moved ahead of Lyon. So yeah, it's really all to play for between these sides right now. And Lille have to play Lyon next, so it'll be interesting. Right, there is, before we go, I just want to talk about a couple other results, because there were some really big games and some title races. Ajax versus PSV, it was a top two clashing, and this pretty much, unless something crazy happens, confirmed that Ajax are going to win the Eredivisie this season. They beat PSV 2-0 away from home. And that does mean that Ajax are now 9 points clear of second place PSV. So it's looking increasingly likely now, a huge win there, that Ajax will be champions once again of the Netherlands. Of course, barring a catastrophic collapse by Ajax, but a massive victory there. I also want to talk quickly about the Turkish league, because there was another big twist in the title race. So Fenerbahce managed to win their game 4-2, but Galatasaray in the derby lost to Besiktas 2-1. Their first loss of the season, I believe. Galatasaray, who had been unbeaten since before this, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who is the manager of Besiktas, have not been doing well at all this season, with a huge result, and that does give Fenerbahce a lot of hope now, because they now have a game in hand on Galatasaray. If they win that, then they will move within 3 points of Galatasaray, so a big twist potentially there, and a lifeline for Fenerbahce thanks to Ole. But I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Those were all of the big results from the weekends. Let me know your thoughts on anything we discussed, and if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see